It should be warm now.
Yes, but it
Yes,
will
this
be
is the
warm
global
after 2
warming.
days.
This is the lie of
And after
global
5
warming.
days it will be cold again. No problem.
Keeps changing. This year is
Yeah.
very changing.
It's
It's going up and down. and
But
up
it
and
doesn't
down.
go too low. I remember in July, August, sometimes it was 10 degrees.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks, 10 degrees. It's really cold, huh?
Mhm.
Nice.
So now
So we can continue.
So everywhere, before we go into this, so Hahnemann explained that everywhere, since about 2000 years, it has been misused, sulfur, because sulfur is used in many of the medicines, medical preparations, especially for the external applications.
External.
Yeah.
In everywhere, in also in all the Western countries also, they are very much used to suppress all types of
Yeah,
ulcers and all types of things. In India also, but in India, in the Ayurvedic field, sulfur is not misused because in Ayurvedic system also sulfur is dynamized. There is a system of dynamization. Especially, there was a very Ayurvedic adept called Nagarjuna. That was about, his time was about somewhere in 3rd, 4th centuries AD. Nagarjuna was
What century?
3rd or 4th centuries, like that time. He was a very famous Ayurvedic. He was a Buddhist by religion, but he was a great Ayurvedic adept. And he also brought new dimensions also in Ayurveda. He is very famous. He is called Siddha Nagarjuna. So he also made the methods to dynamize sulfur. So in Ayurvedic system there are many methods of dynamization. But except that Ayurvedic application, but other generally sulfur is misused also by using external applications. All this has led humanity for this disastrous condition because all this is suppressed inside. So then Hahnemann has observed all these things as a cause of this suppression. And then he has proved sulfur as a dynamizer remedy, how it acts. And now he has given how we can study the nature of sulfur as a remedy so that we can identify these symptoms and administer this. So, unless we identify these symptoms of sulfur, we should not administer directly, simply because it is anti-miasmatic. And that is what Kent also says. So first of all, the skin of a sulfur person, from now onward, what we study is how is the constitution of the person where sulfur is indicated. The skin of the sulfur person is very dirty, mostly.
Dirty?
Yeah.
Skin is dirty.
Yeah.
How do you see the skin is dirty?
Dirty means even though he cleans, but still it gives a dirty appearance, like very oily and rough and these things, this type of appearance it makes. And that causes many manifestations like eczema, scabies, and frequent ulcers forming on the skin, a tendency for frequent ulcers, and also a tendency to form ulcers in the bones. That is also there for sulfur. The bones bone deep ulcers. That is also there in sulfur. And another feature is very chronic digestive problems. These are the persons who have digestive problems for the whole life.
Mm.
Their digestion is very fragile for sulfur persons.
Fragile.
Fragile.
Mm.
So very frequently they have something like diarrhea and pain and dysentery, I mean whatever it may be. The digestion is always a problem. Therefore that prevents these people from having proper nutrition
Mhm.
Ah, yeah.
Mhm.
because of this. So frequent tendency for diarrhea and also a tendency for worms.
Ah, yeah.
Because his intestines attract these parasites.
Mm.
This is also not properly understood in normal medicine. Normal medicine, when they see parasites, then they give a medicine to kill all the parasites.
Yeah.
But that is not a solution.
No.
Because they think that parasites are the cause of the disease. But parasites are attracted only to that constitution which has a good congenial conditions which can provide for the parasites.
Ah, yeah.
Otherwise, if you just put a parasite into a constitution where it is not congenial, it cannot survive.
No.
Cannot survive.
No.
No.
So either the parasites or the bacteria and all these things,
Yeah.
they are attracted to that constitution where they find a very congenial condition to live and to increase in number. Otherwise they cannot. So where you have to cure the person is to cure the tendency to make the congenial conditions for the parasites. That is what you have to do. Otherwise, if you give some medicine to kill the parasites, again they will come back. You kill only one batch and afterwards another batch will come back. So that is why in normal medicine they advise, especially in children, the pediatricians, they give medicines and say, oh, once in a 6 months like that they give medicine to eliminate the parasites.
Clean out.
To clean out. But these medicines not only eliminate the parasites, but they will eliminate
Okay.
the mucous membrane of the
Right.
intestines.
Oh, sure.
Yes. Because when you have to kill something, you will kill the tissue also.
Yeah.
That is why after use of such medicines for some time, then they will develop ulcers because of this. Because the mucous membrane is erased. Then they have to give some more medicine for mucous membrane and all these things. So here, in the homeopathic system, what is the reason for the parasites is the miasm. The miasm makes the constitution congenial for the parasites. It attracts the parasites. So when you give, according to indication, when you give the remedy, this remedy makes the constitution in such a manner that parasites cannot survive anymore here. That is the way we have to do it. So sulfur is one of the remedies which has these symptoms.
But those who have this parasite, it's not from what they eat, it's forming inside the parasite.
No, they may enter in any manner, through water or through this, but they may enter in any manner, but they cannot survive if it is,
Okay.
that is the thing.
Mm.
They survive and multiply only when they find it congenial.
Oh. Is that also what I had in India, amoeba?
Yes, the same.
They say from the dirty water.
Yes, from the dirty water, but you are not drinking the dirty water forever. Once or twice you have taken. But afterwards also for a long time you suffer. That means your constitution
Yes.
is very congenial for them.
Okay.
They felt comfortable with you.
They felt very comfortable when I went first time to India. Mhm.
And also another thing what you find these people of sulfur is
Mm.
that sometimes they have no inclination for food, sometimes they feel very much hungry, both opposites.
Mhm.
It keeps changing.
Mm.
And when they feel very hungry, they eat and they cannot digest.
Mhm.
And also a tendency to develop acidity.
Mhm.
In the stomach or
Mhm.
in general?
In the stomach.
In the stomach.
Mhm.
So all the problems related to stomach,
Mhm.
chronic. And also another tendency you find in chronic cases of sulfur is what is called the Bright's disease. Bright's disease it is called. That means when the important tissues are lost through urine, like albumin and all these things. It's called Bright's disease. Then the person gets weakened. Thus, albumin and all these things, frequently they are lost through urine.
The kidney disease. The problem with the kidney.
The kidneys. The kidneys function.
There is the function of the kidneys. Is not.
And then also the dangerous types of ulcers like cancer, gangrene, these are also manifestations which you find when the person is having sulfur constitution for a long time, which is not cured properly, then they may develop finally as a manifestation into cancer or gangrene, such types of.
This is the famous speech by Hahnemann. No?
Yes.
And he says, when the doctor is a donkey,
Yes.
after 7 years we call it cancer.
But the ulcer in this is not more syphilitic miasm?
Syphilitic miasm also.
Oh.
Because sulfur is a remedy
Or it's also on this
which acts on all the miasms.
Mhm.
Primarily it's the antisoric, but it also it is equally powerful on all the miasms. That is the specialty of sulfur. And also in some persons the carbuncle, in the diabetic persons, there is an ulcer called carbuncle. That means carbuncle means it is an ulcer which stays for a long time, suppurating, and which has more than one outlets.
Please.
More than one outlet.
It's like a furuncle, but with
With many outlets.
C'est des furoncles.
Non, je crois
But-
pas.
No,
No,
but
no,
it has many
Many outlets.
outlets. It means the pus comes not only
Mais en
through
français,
one.
c'est furoncle.
On dit pas carbone?
Non, en français on dit pas. Je sais pas ce
Furoncle.
que
Ça
c'est.
doit être furoncle.
Furoncle, c'est pas
Furuncle
les
is only
petits.
a small
C'est
one.
small, les petits, les furoncles.
The carbuncle is big. Sometimes most are in the
Large.
And
yes, large ones.
And it's opening.
It's so
and
it's
flat.
it's large,
Large and flat.
large and flat. It may be bulging also.
Mhm.
It is bulging, but has multiple outlets.
Mhm. Water coming out.
Not water, pus.
Pus coming out.
Pus coming out
More than one place.
more than one place.
Ah,
And
I've never seen this.
in diabetic patients,
Diabetic.
chronic diabetic patients, and allopathic medicine, that's hell.
Mhm.
They cannot control this so easily. and, and then another manifestation in the sulfur patients is emaciation. Emaciation. So he loses his muscles and becomes skinny and bony. In a few months, gradually you can find him like a skeleton.
I'm the opposite. I'm putting on.
Ça rassure.
I'm suffering the opposite.
Next time you come, we have to prepare another chair for you.
Yes.
And then another type of manifestation is in the glands, in various glands.
Glands, yeah.
The glands,
All glands.
it can affect lymphatic glands,
Lymphatic.
lymphatic glands, and the glands get inflamed. And tuberculosis disease will be manifested in the glands.
Tuberculosis. Tuberculosis we had for many centuries, no?
That is a manifestation.
And many-
What the doctors, normal medical doctors call tuberculosis is only manifestation on the physical plane. It is the manifestation of the disease on the physical plane, either in the lungs or in the intestines or in the brain or in the glands. So that is manifestation in the physical plane. But this manifestation is preceded by all this activity on the higher plane due to the miasm, psora or tuberculosis, due to this.
But on physical plane it manifested already for many centuries, no?
Yes,
Yes, huh?
it's there since many centuries.
Throughout this society.
Throughout the society,
Yeah.
everywhere. And they say poor societies more than
That is all wrong
hygiene.
concept because they have no idea of
they have
the
no
root
idea.
of the disease. Therefore, they
Mm.
make so many theories.
Um,
These are diseases in poor country and diseases in this, but that is not true. That is all only superficial. And also, the tuberculosis affected the lungs, but if it is in the early stages, then sulfur can be given. But in advanced conditions of tuberculosis, sulfur cannot be given. If you give sulfur, then it will go immediately.
Take off.
Take off.
Take off.
Tuberculosis will go and the patient.
How is it with lung cancer?
Yes, there is lung cancer also. Because when once it is manifested as cancer, that means it is the last stage.
Last stage, no?
It is a manifestation on the physical body,
Mm.
the physical tissue.
Mm.
So that is what Dr. Hahnemann explains. If you wait until the disease is manifested in the physical tissue,
Mm.
then that is the last stage. That curability is almost very less. Because before the manifestation on the physical tissue,
Mm.
it is a long time, about
the mind.
7 years or 10 years like that before.
Wow.
Because its origin is at the mental level.
Yeah.
So to descend from the mental level to the physical tissue, it takes pretty long time.
Mm.
And that is a curable stage.
Mm.
When you wait until it is manifested on the physical tissue,
Too late.
then the curability is very less.
Mm.
Because then there are no symptoms.
Mm.
That is the main thing. Without symptoms, you cannot do anything. The symptoms are totally disappeared. You have only manifestation and no symptoms. So then curability is almost
Mm.
nil. That is what Hahnemann explains.
Mm.
So that is why all the treatments for cancer, what you find now, they are not cures.
No.
It is only
Business.
elimination, you cut.
The
Palliation.
elimination of the
It's
patient.
business because they make
First,
so
they,
much money.
first they make biopsy.
Mm.
And when you make biopsy, it flares up.
Mm.
That is also another menace.
Another what?
It's another menace. Menace means
Another
difficulty.
bias.
No, no.
Nice.
No, no.
no.
Menace means
Menace.
problem.
How do you say
Another
it?
problem.
Menace.
Menace.
Une
Ah,
menace.
menace.
Ah.
Like in
In
French.
English, it is menace.
Menace,
You are
okay.
thinking in French.
No, because menace, I don't know the
Yeah.
word in French. It's not
It's a
much
threat.
used, huh? It's a
It's a
threat.
threat.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
It's a threat.
well, menace is not
So,
much used.
Yeah.
When
A threat, yes.
you make a biopsy,
Uh-huh.
because that is what we have observed in many hundreds of cases
Uh-huh.
in India also.
Stimulate the.
It triggers out.
Mm.
It makes a triggering. For example, especially the ladies now,
Mm.
even in India also, what is happening is they get knots in the
Uh-huh.
breasts,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and what we have observed is if you don't do anything, there will be knots, and they can live with that for the whole life.
Yes.
Mm.
No problem.
Yes.
Well,
But they will not keep quiet. They're afraid because
They have
of the
to go
publicity.
every 2 years to
Mm.
make
The
an
publicity.
examination.
But
Now in India it is not
Yes.
obligated to go every 2 years, but it's
No, it's
due to
not.
publicity.
Publicity is very high.
Then they go to the doctor, and doctor says, it's now there is not.
Mm.
If it is not eliminated, then you will get cancer.
Mhm.
And the first thing they put in the mind is,
Mhm.
you will get cancer if this knot is not operated.
Mhm.
In that way they oblige the patient by brainwashing.
Mhm.
And then the patient, she goes for operation, and they are removed, and they said, now you are safe.
Mhm.
But only for a few months.
no.
And after a few
The
months,
knot comes
then
again.
she gets more problem, deeper,
Mm.
and the glands are affected.
Mm.
Before that, only cysts are knots. Now the glands are affected. And then she goes back again.
Okay,
And the doctor says, now you have, it was not due to that what we eliminated. That is over. It's a new disease. So now to avoid cancer, we have to eliminate the breast.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it's the next step.
Next
Yeah.
step.
Yeah, or we have to do
Radiotherapy.
And
they
then
take
after
the glands
to
away.
eliminate the breast, the glands and all these things, and then say, to prevent cancer now we have to give you radiotherapy, radiation.
yes, radiation.
So they give radiation.
And chemotherapy.
After radiation, then they say, now it is better to have chemo also, that for this life you are
To make
free.
sure
Make sure. Then they give chemo.
Fantastic.
you die soon.
And then they say, we have done everything. And after
Now you can go to the homeopath.
then
Yes,
And the
it helps
homeopath
sometimes.
has
Yes.
a lot of difficulties then.
And then when once she gets, because they have triggered, when the moment when they made biopsy are made with knife, then it
Oh.
triggers up.
Mm.
Triggers.
Yes, if you don't touch it, it does not happen anything.
Yeah.
Because according to what Hahnemann has explained, all the toxic things which are produced due to the miasmatic effect, the vital force will deposit this in one of the organs which are safer.
Mm.
Because if they are deposited in the heart, you will die. If deposited in the lungs, you will die. If deposited in the kidneys, you will die. So therefore they can deposit in some of the muscles or in the breast,
Yeah. It's okay.
And the
It's okay.
skin also.
the skin also,
The skin.
You know.
skin or in the breast.
Mhm.
But then the problem is when it is deposited in the breast, then it is not convenient for them to continue their sexual activity. For them, for the couple. So then they are afraid and they go to the doctor. Then all the story starts.
Yeah.
And that is the end of her life, finish.
Mm.
Yeah, but this will not take too long. I
Few
observe
months,
this every
maximum 1 year.
Yes. Yeah.
Most of the cases 1 year, 2
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Very young
If you do
women.
nothing,
More and more.
if you do nothing, the lifespan will
Yes,
continue.
they can live because as
Yeah.
long as this is not disturbed,
Yeah.
nothing happens.
But you cannot say that to the people.
Hmm?
Because if you
No.
say that, you will be.
With my mother, what happened? She had this, and that it was removed. But she lived 10 years. still.
Yes,
But
sometimes.
maybe because she got the homeopathic
Yes,
treatment. and
we
not
made the
use-
homeopathic treatment also.
But then 10 years later it came back
Yeah.
and she was operated again and then chemotherapy.
Yes, yes. Anywhere, any
That's the end
glands.
of the story.
Then,
More and more young
Yes.
girl,
Yes.
even with 30 years old,
Yes.
they get this breast
Because of the
cancer.
field.
30.
Yes, very
30.
young, very, more young
My
ladies.
you know,
now.
what happened, you know, once, it's about 25 years ago. So once we have taken our mother for some test which was needed, just, and we have taken her to one of the allopathic, but we know the doctor, he's our friend, he's an allopathic doctor, his wife is also doctor, they are our friends, they know us. So we have taken her to that, because we know them, they will not do against our things. So the test is over, and then this doctor, he just observed that my mother has some glands a little bit larger, enlarged glands. Then he said, oh my friend, it's better to get your mother for the glands to be removed. I said, why? He said, yeah, but if you live like this, she may get cancer. This is 25 years ago.
Oh.
I said, you are an allopathic doctor, therefore you don't know anything about this. You don't worry about our mother, we take care of our mother. We thank you very much for your concern, but we will not allow anybody to interfere with this. But he said, but you have to protect your mother. I said, we know how to protect her. We are quite know, we are well informed about this. And now more than 25 years, nothing happened. They are like that.
Yes, this is the point.
And she's alive.
Yes. She is now 79. It is 25 years, 26 years ago. And after some years when we met, he said, how is your mother? I said, she is quite okay. Quite okay. How is the glands? The glands are like that. It's quite okay. He cannot understand how it
No,
is.
no.
But I know many women who has succumbed to this, and then they make biopsy, and then they start
Yes,
all the process,
yes.
and then they remove all this and put chemotherapy and radiotherapy.
In
But
India?
in India. And then within
Everywhere.
2-3 years maximum, they are
2-3
finished.
years. That's
The
it.
pro-
And
the
it is a hell.
Oh,
Out-
and they have
once
hell.
you start this,
It's
till
hell.
the end of the life,
Yeah.
they suffer like anything.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is
It's very, very
Yeah.
very painful.
So it-
And also it causes secondaries in another organs.
Mhm.
Because you have removed this,
Yeah.
now they have to deposit. They have to be deposited. So they deposits in other organs.
Yeah, yeah.
This also they cannot understand.
Like they remove always these glands here,
Yes.
you know. They say then you
Tonsils,
don't
yeah.
have any more.
And there was
Angina.
But this is a gland.
once there was one patient, a lady, and she came. She has very severe problem in the rectum. She has hemorrhoids severely, and she said, "I am not able to manage with this. I want to get operated." I told her, "You be patient. In a few months, you can make your hemorrhoids cure. But if you go for operation, the doctors will remove your hemorrhoids, but after 5 years you will get a problem in the throat.
Oh.
That can be cancer." She could not believe this. She went to the allopathy doctor and told him what I said. Then he said, "It is stupid fellow who told you like this. There is no connection between this and this. It's some superstitious fellow and all these
Yeah,
things."
yeah.
And she believed him and she got operated. After 5 years, 5.5 years, she came back to me and said, "How could you tell that I will get cancer in throat?" Now she got cancer in throat.
Wow.
How could you predict?
Oh,
How is it that you can predict? I said, it's not prediction, it is science.
Science.
It is scientific fact.
Mm.
When you remove something by operation rectum, then you will get this is direct fact. But our doctor said like this, and you can go and ask your doctor now. You can go and ask. But even now he says, yeah, it has no connection, only that was removed. After 5
was
years
by
now you got
chance.
cancer by chance. But they are stupid fellows, they cannot understand this.
Oh, yeah.